Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by FPL Salah to preview Gameweek 22. Now we are recording this on Thursday evening before the two final games of Gameweek 21. So ranks obviously aren't final at the time of recording, but it's been a great week for you so far, Abdul. Let's have a look at your game week before looking ahead to your transfer plans and captaincy decisions for Gameweek 22.
Yeah, I've had another good week. The likes of like Wood, Semenyo, who are the lower owned players in my team, done well. Saab chipped in with an assist as well. Defense let me down, but I've got to be happy with that. And I've got no players left to play tonight, but I think with 75 points, I should still finish on the green. Hoping the big Ragnar's like Bruno and a mad blank, hopefully. So let's see.
Yeah, obviously you never know what's going to happen in the games later today, and by the time this video comes out, people will know. So who knows? That rank will get slightly worse, but overall, a very good game week. And we don't know what's going to happen yet with Joao Pedro, who you benched and you played Wood and Semenyo over him, which right now is looking like a great decision. The fact that those two players returned.
Yeah, and I would have probably benched Wood this week if it wasn't for Fabian Herzler's kind of comments. They just kind of worried me a bit. I just thought he might have a chance of a bench cameo. And I knew Wood was gonna, play start, and he's on penalty, so I just start him instead. Semenyo, I just kind of I like that fixture. I think Bournemouth had a decent team, so I was going to start him anyway. But yeah, if it wasn't for those, I would have probably benched Wood. But who knows? Joao Pedro could start tonight. He could score a hat trick. Who knows? I hope he does it.
Yeah, well, you never know. I started Joao Pedro over Semenyo, slightly because I was going to the Chelsea game and watching Semenyo win the penalty and then score with his only real chance of the game. At least I kept him because I was planning on selling him, but I've kept him, and I feel like now that I've played the game for a few years, sometimes bench points aren't the worst thing. Who knows what's going to happen with Joao Pedro? You guys will of course already know that, but also it means that Semenyo won't drop in value. He has some good fixtures coming up after the next few, which are a little tougher, and plays in 29. So I'm not too unhappy about it. And yeah, as you said, Bournemouth are a great team. I think they're on, is that 9 unbeaten in the league? I think it's something like that.
Yeah, since game week 13, yeah, they've not lost a game.
There you go. Pretty ridiculous form. But anyway, let's get into your team for the upcoming game week. Team looks pretty strong. First of all, did you end up making any transfers last week?
No, I saved last week, just like I was planning to. I mean, the only kind of real considerations I possibly had were, I had 0.6 in the bank, so not much. So I was going to downgrade Timber to either a Hall or a Munoz, but just with that game week 29 blank, and I just kind of thought Arsenal could very easily keep a clean sheet against Spurs, so I didn't really want to do that. So yeah, I saved, and to be honest, I'm probably planning to save again this week as well.
So how many transfers do you have? How many free transfers do you have now?
So right now I've got 3.
Okay, so that would be 4. So very strong.
So if I save this week, it'll be 4. But I think with 3 right now, it's in a good position because there's 3 game weeks until 24 when the double is 2 game weeks. So I guess I've got a bit of leeway now. And if there was a transfer needed in my team this week, I probably would have made it. But I don't really think there is, to be honest. I mean, my kind of transfer targets now are, I guess, Kanate and Pickford, right? Liverpool have got Brentford this week, so I'll probably do Timber to Kanate, in 23 or 24.
Yeah,
and then I'll do Fleck into Pickford possibly, and then Everton have got a tough game this week as well. So I really don't think it's worth making one of those moves this week. If Liverpool or Everton had a really kind of plum fixture this week, I would have made that move this week. But I think it's best to save just in case, my plans change, one of those players gets injured. I think the wise thing here to do is save my transfer again.
Okay, so that would mean that you'd have 4 frees for 23, and then potentially 5 for 24, which would be incredibly strong. And I agree with you. I don't really think you need to do any of those moves this week because selling Timber when they've got a very good fixture at home to Villa, who aren't performing unbelievably well right now in attack. I mean, they're obviously still a good team, but they're not what they were last season. Are you going to go to Hall now? Probably not. Munoz now? Probably not. And then the keeper as well, as you said. If Everton had better fixtures, you'd go there quicker, but you don't need to. So let's go through it from the defence. Now you have the double Arsenal defence.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you said there that Timber to Kanate is a move that you're probably likely to do later on.
Mm.
Are you still all right with having that in the meantime?
Yeah, like I think I mean this week I had a look at the clean sheet odds and Arsenal are second favourites to keep a clean sheet. They're at like 44%. Um, and I had a look at Villa's away. I mean, they're a totally different team like at home than they are away. They're like 15th for XG away from home. So I think that's probably reflected in the odds. And I was surprised that Arsenal's kind of clean sheet odds this week. So that's why I kind of looked into it a wee bit. So yeah, I guess I am happy with that. I think, you know, only Nottingham Forest are higher than Arsenal this week to keep a clean sheet, and then they've got Southampton at home. So I'm happy with that. And Trent, you know, Brentford away isn't the best fixture, but Trent hasn't been, I guess, living up to his kind of hype or his price and value. But he can haul in any game, so I'm happy with the defence. I don't think there's any changes needed.
What do you think with Trent? Obviously, yeah, as you said, hasn't been performing that well, but after this game week, it's Ipswich at home, then the double. Should
Yeah.
he be, you know, contrary to his points over the recent weeks, should he actually be somebody that managers that don't have him should be targeting as one of those three Liverpool players?
I'd say so. If you can get him easily, then yeah, I still think he's the best defensive option in the game, and definitely the best defensive option over the next few weeks, considering that Liverpool have got a double game week and then Ipswich in 23. So yeah, I mean, if I didn't have him, you know, despite his kind of underwhelming scores, I'd still be looking to bring him in.
He is predicted to score the second highest, obviously behind Salah, over the next 4 game weeks, and of course in the double as well, of all Liverpool players. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Would you want to go double attack with like a Diaz or a Gakpo? It just seems a bit risky, doesn't it? Maybe even a Jota.
I think it is. I think it is a wee bit risky. And I was looking at their attack, and I think the only one I'd go for is Gakpo. He started the last 9 games. I think he scored like 6 goals or something in the last 9. Um, which I didn't actually realise he'd started the last 9 games in a row. That's, you know, quite something. So he's clearly first choice, but that still doesn't make him immune to getting rotated, you know, like during kind of busy fixture schedules and that. And I just think a double defence is just a lot more reliable. You won't have to worry about, you know, Kanate or Trent being rested. I mean, I guess, sorry, I wouldn't say there's 100% chance Trent starts both the games, but I'd be pretty certain he does. I know we've got Bradley there, but I'd be 95% sure that, you know, or 90% sure that Trent starts both those games in the double. He still think he's first choice. He'll probably get, obviously, maybe reduced minutes,
Yeah.
but he'll play over 60 minutes. That's what matters.
They're also like both tough games. I mean, Everton, new manager away is tough. And then Bournemouth, obviously, one of the form teams in the league
Yeah.
away is very tough. Yeah, I'm with you. I'd go 95% that he starts both of those. So that means that, are you going to be benching Colwill this week? I mean, like, based on what I saw on Tuesday, it's quite an obvious decision. Like, looks great in the first half. Again, looked very solid. And then just keeper goes on a mad one. Just gives the ball away and then just don't come out for the second half. And
Yeah.
yeah, concede 2 again.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, look, see, before I posted the clean sheet odds, and before I posted them, I actually thought Chelsea were going to be like second. I knew Forest were going to be first, but they're actually at 38%. Like they're the fourth, most likely. So City, Arsenal, and not Forest are all higher than Chelsea to keep a clean sheet. And despite their kind of, I guess, you know, a poor defensive performances, I'm still surprised at that. So yeah, I think I'm going to play a double Arsenal defense. I mean, the clean sheet odds kind of back that up, and obviously Timber has got a lot more attacking threat than Colwell too. And I think I've got a quite strong bench there because I'll be benching Colwell, Pedro, and Mikalenko. I think
Right,
they're all
okay.
solid subs I've got there. They should all play. You know, if Pedro plays tonight, we know he's going to be fit. You know, whether he comes off the bench or whether he starts. So that'll kind of, I guess, you know, protect me from any if I get any injuries or anything to my other players. So yeah, I think I'm pretty well set to save again this week.
That was my final question really about your team before we come on to captaincy is, yeah, what's your reasoning for benching Joao Pedro? Again, one more time, we're recording this before the Brighton game, so we don't know how many minutes he's played tonight on Thursday. But yeah, you've got Joao Pedro there, and it's worth saying as well that he is predicted to score the fewest points out of Semenyo, Sarr, and Mbermo, who I suppose that's sort of the decision. Maybe not Mbermo, to be fair. Maybe not Sarr. For me, yeah, I've got Semenyo and Joao Pedro. It probably is between those two. So how come you're going for Joao Pedro as the first bench option?
Yeah, I just think his minutes are quite uncertain right now. I think even if he starts against Ipswich tonight, I'm guessing he'll probably not play the full game.
Yeah.
Because he did actually, he did get an ankle injury, so that's something that will be looked at. I guess we will know more after tonight's game, but that's what I'm basing on at the moment. And Semenyo is like just nailed to start, nailed to play almost 90 minutes every game, and he's been putting up fantastic numbers like over the season. I've just been so frustrated by him because he's like, just he gets us great goal scoring positions. I think he's hit the bar about 3 or 4 times since game week 6. I've not had much from him, but so that haul this week was really sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think he's generally a more kind of reliable asset at the moment.
It's a tough one with Semenyo because he's been one of those that I was really keen on and happy to hold for a while. But then recently, before this game week, I've been looking at the numbers where obviously his XG data has been very, very good all season for a player at his price.
Yeah.
But then I was kind of coming towards the general sort of argument that actually he's one of those players that his XG is high because he takes quite a lot of low XG shots. And actually, if you actually look at the chances he's had, actually like thinking about it from a human, like actual looking at the game perspective, how many of those were likely to be goals rather than just looking at like, okay, he's got 0.4, 0.5 XG per game or whatever. But I feel like maybe the last game showed that XG is important because his XG was very low. He just had one chance, but it was a great shot. And then he did very well to win the penalty.
Yeah. And I think it kind of evens out. And I think if he keeps on putting up the same numbers as he has, he'll be great value.
Yeah.
And I just like, I mean, if you look at Bournemouth, I mean, I don't know what they're at now, but they'll be similar. But last week I checked, they were like fourth for XG, so they're a really good attacking side.
What about non-pen? They've had about 25 million penalties this season.
Good point. Good point.
But penalties are part of it.
You know what? I checked that because I checked a few weeks ago and they were second for XG, right? And I did think, okay, penalties. Then I checked the non-pen XG and they're like fourth. So I don't think they're that far behind. They're definitely going to be top 5 or top 6 for non-pen XG. And for a team like Bournemouth, you would not expect that. They're a good attacking side. He is a frustrating player because, like you said, he does take a lot of like shots, no low XG shots, but I think he gets into good positions as well. As I said, look, he has missed, like me watching him, he's missed a lot of I'd say easy chances which he should score, and he's hit the woodwork a few times. So I think I've been quite unlucky, or Semenyo owners have been quite unlucky not to get a wee bit more out of him.
Yeah, that's completely fair. Okay, let's talk about captaincy now. Palmer is predicted to score the highest points according to Fantasy Football Hub, but it's very close between him and Salah. Isak is slightly behind. If I look at all players here, is there anyone else that's close? Haaland is on 7.4, which is slightly above Isak.
Yeah. I think Bruno is probably a shout this week as well, if you've got Bruno. Possibly.
Yeah, I'm actually not seeing him. Let me check Bruno, actually, because he will be here somewhere, I'm sure. 5.3 points. Yeah, Bruno, for some reason, is not really getting up to those sort of levels yet. We saw it this week as well. And again, who knows how he's done tonight. But, yeah, Palmer did well last week. Salah blanked for, I think, the 3rd time this season. The 2nd time against Forest, who picked up 4 points against Liverpool this season, which is unbelievable. And Isak now is scored in 8 consecutive games in the league. And I think he scored 11 goals in those 8 games or something like that. It's either 10, 11 or 12, I can't remember. But phenomenal form. What are you thinking for captaincy?
Well, at the moment, I've got it on Palmer, and I've got the vice on Salah. I think this is really close this week, actually, because, I mean, even in that Forest game, right, they're the 3rd best defence in the league. Salah put up an XG of 0.47 and an XA of 0.34. Like he was... Wow. He could have had something in those final minutes when I was watching the highlights. He could have had something in that game. And, obviously, I'm glad that this time he blanked. But, I mean, Brentford away, I think I could see goals in that game. I can just see goals in that game. But I think Wolves at home is one of the best fixtures of the season. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably looking at only like maybe 2 or 3 teams that are worse than Wolves defensively in the league. So I think based on fixture and the fact that Palmer's on penalty playing 90 minutes, I mean so is Salah, but I think the only thing separating them right now is the fixture. and that's why it's on him.
I agree with that. I feel like you just watch them against Newcastle as well. They just look poor. And what Chelsea did so well against Bournemouth in the first half, especially, was really sort of move their midfield around and exploit that space that then became pretty like vast and apparent. And it was pretty simple for, you win your duel. Like Jackson beat a few players, he's in.
Mm.
Palmer had a lot of space in the first half in midfield, and I saw similar things with Wolves against Newcastle. I wouldn't be surprised if that's sort of the pattern of the game early on again on Monday. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Palmer as well. Also, like his finish was just a joke.
Yeah, no, it's that dummy. It's just beautiful. He's just such a good player, man.
He's
Like,
so good. Like his instincts is just ridiculous.
yeah,
But he started that game. It was like he just got a nutmeg in the first like 2 seconds. Then was just popping it about. Then scored that goal. I was like, what? This is just ridiculous. The one thing with Palmer that I will say is different to, obviously different to Salah, and maybe even slightly different to Isak, is that just recently, maybe this season more than last, he has seemed to sort of fade a little bit in later stages of games in the second half, and he's not always like super involved in a way that with Salah you are always like if you're
yeah.
watching him, you haven't captained him or you're a non-owner, you're always on the edge of your seat, like terrified of
Mm.
what he could do at any moment, and he keeps going right until like the end of the
Yeah.
game, as you said with Forest, chances right at the end. I know it's game state, but it seems to happen every game. Whereas Palmer, I'm not sure. I feel like you need something from him earlier to get him going a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've not watched a lot of full Chelsea games, so I know obviously you being a Chelsea fan, that's a good bit of, I guess, information actually. I haven't noticed that much, but yeah, I mean, did you think he's carrying an injury? I have seen him like, I don't know, I guess like sit down at times and like kind of hobbling at times, but he obviously carries on. I don't know if he's maybe carrying something.
Potentially. In the injury that he got, well, that he picked up during the game was just completely his own fault. It was like a bad tackle
Yeah,
round the back of someone, and I think yeah, clipped during
wow,
that.
yeah.
But he seemed fine the rest of the game, to be honest. He was dropping deeper to try and get on it when we were struggling and Bournemouth was sitting in.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like Salah and Haaland, when they're on form, are a level above him. I'd probably class him more on like the Saka level of captaincy. I don't. It's
mm,
funny, like talking to my Chelsea friends, we just like is it's different to last season where he was sort of always on it. Like, not saying he's not having an amazing season because he is, but it
yeah.
does feel like the manager's trying to take the onus off him a little bit, and that means that he's not always involved. Maybe I've got my like
No, I mean,
pessimistic Chelsea hat on a little bit.
yeah, because he's a young player and he's getting played like every game, 90 minutes, like every league game. So I mean, I guess, if he's been told to kind of reserve his energy near the end of games, if it's not needed, then, I think that kind of makes total sense at his age. You don't want to kind of, wear him out and tire him out at that kind of, young, the early part of his career. So yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know if we're maybe looking in too much into this, but yeah,
Yeah,
that kind of would make sense. And what you said about Salah and Haaland like being like a tier above. I agree, but I also think that I think Salah and Haaland are the best athletes in the game, but I think Palmer is like uh, in a weird position, like behind them. But I still think he's better than the likes of Son, Saka. I
yeah.
think his own little category where he's close to Salah and Haaland, not quite there yet. But still a much better asset than the likes of Saka and Son, etc. Those premiums Foden. Um, and I think he will get to like that, I guess, Salah Haaland levels in a few years.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll take back what I said. Actually, I do think, yeah, with Saka, you'd have to consider it more like, is it a perfect fixture for him?
Yeah.
What are the alternatives, and is there really not much else to go with? Whereas Palmer, you'd always feel sort of semi confident putting the captain on him in any game, I suppose.
Yeah.
Obviously, to an extent. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't take away from the fact that I'm captaining Palmer. Um,
Yeah.
I think yeah, as you
Yeah.
said, it's one of the
And
best fixtures you can have.
it's a Monday night game. I love that
Exactly.
Monday night. It's just one of those where it just gives you that bit of hope. You've had a crap game week, but you have that like, okay, I've still got my captain to play on Monday, so 'cause you can still kind of I guess feel a bit of hope until the end of the game week.
Absolutely. And also because of Salah having a good fixture, Isak scoring the most points this week out of the potential captains, I don't think his EO is going to be that high. It was 112, 120,
Yeah,
depending on where you are last week, whereas Salah's was 160. I think that might,
yeah.
I don't know, it might be roughly the same this week, to be honest.
I think so. I think one blank isn't enough, and I think people, even like I guess managers who aren't as engaged as much still know Forest are a decent team, so they
Yeah.
won't take much into that. I think you probably see Salah a similar EO next week as well.
Okay, let's finish the video off by looking at your recommended transfers, and there are none, which
Again,
is
oh
what you want
wow,
to see. It's what you want to see, isn't it? Your team's strong. You've got a good team percentage. I think actually the more, well, I don't know. I've not really been in a stage where I've had like 3 or 4 saved transfers, but the more free transfers you have, I think that the more impact a tool like Fantasy Football Hub saying we recommend making no transfers this game week is it sort of like makes you think, wow, okay, my team must be in a good spot, because even with
yeah,
so much potential, they're still recommending to roll.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, coming up to 24, it's looking good, and to maybe have 4 or 5 transfers there. But yeah, as always, guys, if you would like your own recommendations, maybe you have a lot of free transfers as well. Maybe you're considering a couple of moves, but you're not quite sure whether actually it's best to roll and wait for 23, 24 when obviously we have that double coming up. Then yeah, click the link in the description. Get your recommendations personalized to your team. There's also still a 30-day free trial offer going on, which is pretty incredible. But yeah, if you want your season to be saved, link down below. Okay, mate, I think that's everything. Have we missed anything important?
I don't think so. I think the main thing this week is the captaincy. I think it's going to be again those three: Palmer, Salah, and Isaac.
Let me ask you one final question,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm springing this on you, and you're not allowed to think about it for longer than 5 seconds.
Oh, okay.
If you could make one completely free transfer, as in it didn't cost you a free transfer, just like an actual transfer, who is the player in the game right now, if there is one, there might not be one, who you're sort of worried about or you'd love to have in your team
Yeah.
who you don't currently have? I'm thinking of managers out there that, yeah, we've got 24 coming up, but they might want to make a move for this week or the next 2 weeks. I mean, I brought Gordon in last week because I was like, well, I'll have him for 3 or 4 weeks. I know they're going to blank, but Newcastle are playing so well right now. So who's that player for you if you have one?
Exactly him. Anthony
Is it
Gordon.
him?
Yeah, yeah. I was just see. It's funny you asked that question because, and I know hindsight. I know this is hindsight, but I just thought I could have like obviously with hindsight, like there. Like last week, I could have done Mbeumo to Anthony Gordon, and that would have been, I think, a good move because first of all, Mbeumo's got the 2 tough fixtures, and then Newcastle's fixtures, from last week with the next 4 are great. They've got Bournemouth next, then Southampton, and then Fulham. And I think that probably would have been worth it, having Gordon over those 4 fixtures. But we'll see how it goes in the next few weeks. But I did think that in hindsight, I thought maybe I could have done that move.
Yeah.
And yeah, Gordon is the one I'd probably have right now.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I sold Odegaard and Enzo. So say Odegaard
Mm.
for Gordon.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of didn't make any points up on that. But the point being, if I had Mbeumo and I was thinking, oh, should I sell him for Gordon? Because my plan is to get Mbeumo in when the fixtures turn in like 24 or 25
Yeah.
for that Gordon slot when Newcastle's fixtures go a bit bad probably in 25. And because of the 29 fixture, I mean, I'm pretty sure that Newcastle are going to get through in the
Yeah, I
cup.
think so.
It's a bit of like a weird sort of psychological thing where you don't want to sell a player that you know you're very likely to get back in 4 game weeks time. But then for me, not having, I'm still going to make those 2 transfers, but just for different players. But then I'll still end up on Mbeumo.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's one of those. It's like a butterfly effect. You don't really know. I mean, making one transfer just kind of opens up so many different kind of paths, and I don't know what kind of bringing in Gordon, what kind of knock-on effect that would have on my team in that as well. So I don't like to think about these things too much, but I did think last week, that was a player I could have bought in, and it would have been worth it. And I think those who went with Gordon last week, I think it was a really astute move because that's 4 fixtures you're going to get, which are really good. And I think the points that you make up with Gordon, with the next 3, is probably going to be worth that transfer.
Okay, there we go. that's going to do it for this one. Thank you very much, as always, Abdul, for your tips and advice. Let's see what happens in the games today. You guys will already know what's happened, so let us know in the comments down below. Have our teams, well, has Abdul's team has he got a red arrow? I mean, it'd be very unlikely. You never know. If Ahmad scored 100 points,
Yeah.
season over. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below as always. Remember to sign up to Fantasy Football Hub if you still somehow haven't, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thank you.